My name is Sharif. I am a software engineering student. This is my last sem. So when I joined the university, I wanted to learn about robotics. I wanted to learn about how the robotics work, how the people program the embedded system, how all this work done. So I was looking at the courses. So I thought the computer science is the most suitable course for me to take. So when I joined computer science, then I found that there is no much robotics in there. There is only software. So after that, I searched for something else to join. Then I joined another UTM robotics club. So in that club, I learned about hardware. I learned a lot about hardware, 3D modeling, 3D design, electronics, embedded system. I learned a lot of things. So this combination between the hardware and the software, for me, it was a big benefit for me to go to the IoT field and discover more about how to integrate hardware and software together. Because for IoT or other technologies out there, it required several major, like for example, the IoT, it requires you to have hardware and software knowledge. So that was my big advantage that I had to be able to come out to this field. So maybe I share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I see from the people who registered, there's a lot of people from electronic, then from computer science, and I think that a lot of majors has been registered, not only from these two, but others that is not maybe far related to IoT, but they still register. So I hope that this will benefit them. So when we say IoT, what does when you first hear IoT, what's the first thing you would think of, or what's the thing that first come in your mind when you hear something IoT? Can anyone uh, say, or maybe write in the chat?
Smart home system.
So what do you think IoT? Like, okay, we know that IoT is Internet of Things, but how do you imagine it? Is it hard or require a lot of knowledge, or how do you? What's your point of view about IoT?
Yeah, it's like how to involve our technology in our lives, something like that, related to this.
Okay, that's a good answer. Another, maybe another. You want that?
The future.
What?
The future.
Future. Okay. Okay. So okay. For me, maybe if you ask me for my point of view, I think is overrated technology. For me, that is my point of view, because it's maybe it's a good technology to use, but it's overrated from my perspective. So we before we dig into Internet of Things, there is something called Internet of People. So before Internet of Things started, there's an Internet of People whereby people interact with each other. So how people interact with each other, they using their senses, using every human have five senses. So they're using touching, hearing, seeing, smelling. So this is how people are interacting with each other. But then until 2010, there is this is the year that IoT has formed. So at this year, there is it's a big advantage for IoT, because at this year the number of devices online is exceeding the number of people. So we have currently we have 7.8 billion people, but we have 50 billion device online. So you can see the big difference of the ratio. That means like 50 billion device means for every person there is 8 devices connected online. So it's a big number, really big, and you can see the opportunity there. So what is IoT and why should you care? So IoT is Internet of Things, as you all know, but it's the ability of making devices talk to each other. So we have human talking to human, but now we have device talking to device. So maybe I give you an example. So let's say you're wearing a bracelet in your hand. So let's say when you wake up in the morning, the bracelet will know that you wake up already. So once you wake up, then the bracelet will automatically send the signal to the house to maybe turn off the AC, maybe open the windows, maybe prepare your coffee. So this is things talking to each other. This is how Internet of Things work. And it's not only this, but there's other applications. There's other applications out there whereby you can have it for collecting data, you can have it for analyzing data, you can have it for security purposes, you can have it for many other reasons. So Internet of Things, as we say, are things and have the sense and communication same as human. So this is how we're able to make the devices talk to each other. We need to add senses and communication to them. By senses, I mean sensors. So the sensors, we have several types of sensors. So you need to add, for the device, you need to give it the ability to sense and communicate with others. That only be able to have an IoT. But for the concept nowadays, I think the IoT concept is quite maybe misunderstood. Like matter of fact, I have one of my friends who was presenting for his final year project, and his project titled it's including IoT. But when he presented his idea to the judge, there's one of the judges have IoT company. So after my friend finished presenting his FYB project, the judge asked him, "What is the IoT in your project?" So it was a misunderstanding of IoT definition and how it should be implementing. So we need to make sure that the concepts are clear and we make sure we understand the foundation and the fundamental. So for examples that I have worked on before, so this is actually a battery indicator. Or I was in a company, then the company asked me to track the battery voltage every 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes, I need to know the reading of the battery to see how the battery drop and how long it can stay. So after we do a lot of testing, we figure out that the battery in the beginning will drop fast. Then after that will stay more timing. So means that in the beginning, maybe the first hour it will drop very fast, but then after that it will still stay alive for longer. So this was one of the projects whereby I added the Wi-Fi module to the device. Then I added voltage sensor to the battery. So I added the sense to the sensor to the device to be able to detect the voltage, and the Wi-Fi module is able to communicate with other devices. So that's how it's called IoT. Also, maybe another example, because during to the COVID now, there's many projects are going on. There's many IoT opportunities for this period because it's a good timing for projects. And this one was a project that is tracing the activity of the people during the movement control. So inside the university, when the people go inside labs and go outside, there is no tracing and there is no tracking for them. So we make a system that allow the university to be able to see the people and tracking them and track their activities and also to see the temperature. Also another one, this one is for patients, so it can monitor the health of the patient through by monitoring his heart rate and his temperature throughout the time he's staying in hospital. So there is many applications can be done with IoT, and there is many good opportunities to be taken in during this COVID period, especially. So who cares? Who cares about IoT? Actually, there is many big companies that working in IoT. There is also Samsung. Samsung, they in 2014 they buy a company called Smart Things. They buy for 200 million US dollar. So it's really a big investment. Also for Google they buy Nest company. Nest company is only selling thermometers and smoking detector. So Google buy Nest company for 3.2 billion US dollar. So you can see the business opportunity and how much is big the chance for IoT. So the dangers of IoT of course have other side downs, which is not because everything have side downs. So from the IoT side down is the major thing is security. Because for your, like I say, if you have your bracelet that tells you wake up or not, it's okay for you to let your bracelet know you wake up or not, but it's not okay for you to let other people know that you already wake up. So this is the security issues that faced by the IoT. It's very big issue in IoT, but hopefully it can be overcome. So in today's workshop, we will be using Node MCU. Do you guys have the Node MCU? Hello? You guys prepare your Node MCU? Hello? Anyone there?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, what do you guys know about Node MCU? What is Node MCU?
I think maybe it's similar to Arduino, but it has a built-in Wi-Fi module.
Correct. So the Node MCU is similar to Arduino, but it's attached with the Wi-Fi module. So it will be able to connect to Wi-Fi and send data. And for the Wi-Fi module, there's several ways to have communication. There is because in Wi-Fi doesn't mean you need to have internet. Wi-Fi, maybe you can connect your device to other device using Wi-Fi, but not through internet. So you can sending data through Wi-Fi, but it's not necessary to have internet. So for sending the data, how will we get the data? When we get the data from sensor, how we will be able to send it to network or to cloud? Because this part is focused more on computer science. So for you to send data, when you get the data from anywhere from sensor, then you want to push it to cloud. You need to have something called request. So in networking, there is a request and there is a response. So for example, I ask someone, okay, can you give me this page? Then he will respond back to me, okay, this is the page. So this is how networking works. Networking is all about requesting and response. So we have two parts in the networking. We have one called client and one called the server. So these two parts are different from each other. The client is who you are, is the one who's sending the request. So let's say, okay, now the node MCU sending to cloud or to database. So the node MCU in this case is my client, and the other side is the server. So the node MCU will send requests to the server. Then the server needs to respond back saying acknowledged or saying anything. You can control the response back. So this is how the networking works in the cloud. And we have 4 types of requests. So if you want to send a request, you need to specify the type of the request you are sending. So we have a delete type, we have a post, we have put, we have get. So these 4 types have different implementation, but it can be used for different purposes. It means like for example, the get request can be used as put or as delete or as post. But the best practice is to keep using the request fits for the functionality. So for example, the delete request is for you to delete something from your database. If you want to delete something, you use the delete request. Then we have the post request. The post request is for you to request some to send some data to the server, but the data will be hidden inside the request, so it's more secure. So this is for post. And put is to update data. You want to update data of user maybe inside the database, so you need to use put. And we have get. Get is for you to get data, to retrieve data, to fetch data. So if you want, let's say the user's registers, you need to use get request. So the server will be able to send you back, respond you back with the data you need. Then we have the level, we have the HTTP codes. Means when I send you a request, when you send me back the response, you need to mention the code for the response. So let's say, okay, I send you, I say, can I have google.com page? Like when you write in your browser, you write www.google.com. You press enter, this one will send a request to Google server asking them, can I get this page? Then the server will send you back the page with a code. The code is presenting the status of the request. Is it success, or is it not found? Like 404, is it not found, or is it forbidden? Maybe you don't have access to this page. So we have there's a lot of different codes in networking field, but the most common is the 200 and 400 and 500, and all the 200s, all the 400s, all the 500s. So this code is very important for you to know that either your request is successfully sent or something interrupted or something happened to it. And in the request, when you're sending a request, the request is something like a package. So this package have header, and inside have a body. So when you're sending a request, the header will specify what type of request you are sending. Is it get? Is it post? What type of request you are sending? So you will put this inside the header, and then also you will put there is several attributes you need to add in the header. For example, is the what type of request is this, and what type of data inside the body, and also if there is authentication, means there is you need to have some kind of serial number or some unique number need to be added so you can able to access some files. You need to add also in the header. So there is a few attributes you need to add inside the header. Then in the body is your data, the one you want to send. So let's say, okay, now when you write google.com in your browser, you're sending a request, you're asking, okay, I want this type of request is GET request. Then in the header also you will mention you want this path, you want google.com page. So when this request is sent to Google server will reply you back and will attach the page of Google inside the body, and he will send you back. Then he will say 200. 200 means already successful. Means the request is successfully sent. So this is a brief concept about how networking works and how you can send requests throughout the internet. Because it's very important to understand the basics so you can be able to use it. And then if you guys have the node MCU, you guys have sensors including in the node MCU, or you only have node MCU only?
For me, I have the sensor also.
You have which sensor?
Same, LM35, temperature sensor.
Oh, good. Can you connect same as the picture?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Others? Hello? So maybe I give you guys maybe 5 minutes to prepare the node MCU and connect it similar to this. And if you have different type of sensor, it's okay. But as long as you can get the reading from this sensor, then it's okay.
Ibrahim has done his circuit.
Okay, nice. Okay, so after Ibrahim, you can already program the load MCU.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so if you plug in the temperature sensor same as you show in the picture, so you should be able.
Okay.
First thing we need to read the data from the pin. So the pin we plug in is A0. So to read the data from there, you will need to have a function called analog read. So can you see the code or is
Yeah, now better.
So we have two types of pins in the LinQ. We have the A0 and we have D. D is the digital, so you can only use the digital read or digital write for you to be able to give signal. But the A0 is for analog, so you can receive analog data. Analog means from 0 to 5 volt in between. It's not 0. Digital is 0 or 5, but analog is between the 0 and 5. So first we will have we need to read the data. So we will have analog read. Then we can write A0. So that means it will read from pin. It will read the data coming to pin A0, which I plug in my sensor to it. Then I will store it inside the variable. Integer maybe the signal equal to analog read A0. So now I already can get the data from the pin, and then I will save it inside this variable. Then after this, I need to do some calculation for it, because now when I get the data, it's not a temperature data, it's just a voltage data. So I need to convert it from being voltage data, need to convert it to from voltage, need to convert it to temperature. So if you guys know, the 5 volt is equals to 1024 in analog. So like 5 volt is equals to 1024 in analog, and 0 volt is equals to 0 in analog. So the signal here is must be between 0 and 1, 0 to 4. So this is the range of the analog signal. So after we get the reading, we need to have do some calculation. So we need to convert the signal. So B then need to divide it by the analog, the 5 volt analog. Then after this we need to times it times with the 330. 330 is the temperature. This one is to convert to the cesium temperature. So by doing this, by doing this, you will be able to get the temperature reading, convert the analog, the voltage to the temperature. So this one also we save it in a variable. So this variable needs to be float because there will be decimal floating points. So we can say C0. Okay, C. So the data after it's converted from voltage to temperature will be set inside this variable. Okay, after we do this, we need to print out the data so we can able to see the data and see is it correct or not. So we need to start a serial monitor. So we will adding a serial here, serial dot begin. Then serial is because when you connect your node MCU using a cable to your laptop, now you're having a communication with your node MCU. So serial is the way to show the data in the node MCU. So let's say in node MCU you want to show data on the screen on your laptop screen. So you will use the serial. So in serial begin, you need to identify how much is the bound rate. Bound rate means the node MCU will send in a frequency of, let's say 9,600. So the frequency of the laptop need to be 9,600 also. Need to have the same frequency to be able to communicate. So let's say 9600. And then here we do serial print and write C. So this one now after we do serial print, it will show on the screen the temperature will be printed on the screen. And here we can add ln to make a new line after printing. So to print one time, then go a new line. Print one time, then go new line. Not printing in the same line. And then we can have delay. So it won't be too fast. So we can add delay is like 1 second. 1000 is 1000 microseconds. So which is equal to 1 second. So now the code will go like this. It will go here one time only. Then we'll initialize a serial. Then after this function will keep running. After finish, it keep running again. So here we will get the reading from the analog pin A0, then put it inside B variable. Then B will convert from the voltage to a temperature using this formula. After it converted to the store in C, then it will print it out every 1 second. So we can try to upload this code. Need to wait for a while to upload. You can have different sensors. It's not necessary to have a temperature sensor. You can have other sensor, but you need to make sure you are able to get a reading from it. Because later on, after we get the reading, we will upload it to a cloud. Okay, so here you can see it's already done uploading. So if you want to see the data printing, you can press here, serial monitor. So when you go to the serial monitor, this is the serial monitor. Now it's not printing because the bound rate is 115200, but I set here is 9600, so I need to change it. So now it's printing 0. Not sure why it's printing 0 for me. Okay. I think this one needs to be point. This flow. Upload again. Okay. Now we can see this is the current temperature now. This is the temperature coming from the sensor. So if I try to touch the sensor with my hand, then the value will increase slowly. So this is now is the reading that we can after we have the reading, then we can push this reading to the cloud to be able to analyze it. Did everyone get the same? Right?
I'm not getting the same numbers. I'm getting 0 and 0.7, 0.1, 0.2, 0, 0.2.
Oh, did you do the same calculation?
Yeah, I did the same. Maybe the error maybe from the sensor itself.
I think if getting 0 means not mean if 0 point something mean is not connected.
Okay.
We can try to change the wires or reconnect it.
Okay.
Okay, now after we can get the reading from the sensor, then now we need to connect our node MCU to the Wi-Fi. So to connect the Wi-Fi, we need to add a library. Library already exists in the Arduino IDE. So we include and we write. So maybe another way is to go here, then include library, then search for the library. Wi-Fi. this is the library for the Wi-Fi. ESP8266 is the type of Wi-Fi module we are using in Wi-Fi.h. So after we include this library, we can be using the functions for connecting to the internet. So the function to connect to Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi dot begin. Then inside here you put the username and password of the Wi-Fi. So let's say my I will use my own Wi-Fi. So this is the name, the name of the this is the name of the Wi-Fi, and this is the password of the Wi-Fi. And then after we connect the Wi-Fi, you need to make sure it's connected. So you will have you can add the while loop. This while loop will be checking either the Wi-Fi is already connected or not. So you have Wi-Fi dot connect. This function is checking whether the Wi-Fi is connected or not. Either there is Wi-Fi or not. So if the Wi-Fi is not equal to connected, if the Wi-Fi is not equal to connected, then we will have a procedure. For thing. Here I'm waiting. For it won't be breaking so fast. Okay, so here we include the library for the Wi-Fi. Then after we include the library, we connect to our Wi-Fi. So this one is you need to change to your own Wi-Fi name, and this one to the password of your own Wi-Fi. So after this, because this function will take a few seconds to connect, so we need to have a checking. So if the status is not connected, then keep waiting. So it will keep inside this loop until this condition is false. Means until it's connected, then it will go inside it. It will go inside the loop. It will go inside the loop function. So we can try this. Try to upload this. Can you guys follow?
Yeah, still uploading.
You already can get the reading from the sensor?
Ah, yes, the reading, yes.
Okay. He's done uploading. Info. think there's oh, this one needs to be before. This one needs to boot up because I need to print here. So this one needs to initialize before the file. So it should be like this. Try to upload again. Okay. Now you can see waiting. And now it's fine. Need to connect. Okay. Now it's already connected. So once it's connected, it will automatically go. It will keep waiting for connection until it found the Wi-Fi and connect. Then it will automatically continue. Then it will go to this part. So that means you already connected to the. That means already your node MCU is connected to Wi-Fi. Means after connect to Wi-Fi means the node MCU will have its own IP address. Is it okay? Is it the same for everyone?
I'm still waiting for connection.
Need to be careful from the spelling of the Wi-Fi name and password. Also the capital letter and small letters. Khalid, can you connect to the Wi-Fi? Khalid, so fun.
Hey, Sharif.
Can connect to Wi-Fi or can I?
Yes.
Anas? Anas.
Okay.
Zayan. Abdurrahman Zayan. Zayan. Okay, after you guys can connect to Wi-Fi and you have the reading is ready, means you already have a sensor reading, whatever sensor you have. Or if you don't have sensor, also it's okay. You can write in just write in different number. You can just write a number. So you can connect to the internet, have sensor reading. Then after this, we will data to our cloud. So you need to. There is different tools for uploading to the cloud. There is many means of storage provided by a lot of companies, but for the one we were using is called IoT for all. It's a good platform, so we will need to send requests from the node MCU to this website. Then after this, maybe we can print our. When you connect to the internet, there will be you will have an IP address. So this IP address the one who will make you able to communicate with other stuff on the network. So to know your node MCU IP address, after you connect to Wi-Fi, you should have IP address, so you can print it. So serial.a and write Wi-Fi pin.a. So after you connect to the Wi-Fi, you will have you will print your node MCU IP address. So you can load this and see your IP address. Okay. So now is waiting connection. Then after this, it prints the IP address that this node MCU is on. So from this IP address, you can send data from this IP. You can send data to this IP address. So means like let's say if you have because now our node MCU in our example will be acting like a client, so it will be sending data to the cloud. But maybe you can make it as a server, so it receives requests. So when you do it to make it receive request, then you need to know the IP address, so you can send to this IP address. Can you get your IP address, Brian?
Yeah, it showed up, yes.
Okay, good. Okay, then now now we will try the request. So in order to do request, there's another library you need to add to be able to do request. So the library name, I think, this is the library for you to be able to send requests. So after you include this, you can able to send the data of the sensor to the client. So after you add this, you need to have a variable from this library. So here you will have and we can name it HTTP. So this variable is coming from this library, from the HTTP client library. So this variable, you can use it for need to HTTP, and we write to begin. Again, then we need to write the URL we want to send to the URL you need to send this data for. For today we will not be sending data to the cloud. It will be tomorrow. But today maybe we just check that it's working or not. So you can try to send to this URL. We put it in the chat so you guys can send to this. Okay, so this link should be when you send to this, when you send a request to this URL, it should return you good. So when you send this request, it should tells you good means there is internet available and the request is successfully. So after this, we need to after we write the URL, then we need to write. We only give the URL, but we didn't ask it to send. So we will add HTTP and .get. Get is the type of request we are sending. So it can be small, it can be capital, it can be both small or capital. So this one is the type of request we are sending. So here you write the URL you want to send data to. Then after this, you will write HTTP get. Here this function will send the request and will return back to you the response and the code. The HTTP code, is it 200, 400, or 500? So we can save the code inside a variable. So in code equal HTTP.get. So once it's sent, we will get the code. Is it successful or not? Then we can print out the code for us to see. And serial code info. Okay. Then this one will give us the code, which is 200, 400, or 500, and we need to also get the response. We need to print the response. So the response is inside this function, and it will be so after the request go, then the response will be here, means the good should be printed here, and this one is the code of the request. So this should be for you to send the request to the internet. And you can try to upload it. And this request will be sent every 1 second, because we have a delay here. So every 1 second we'll send the request. When you want to send request, don't try to send so fast. You need to have a delay between the requests, because if you send the request for many times, then it might crash the server. So we upload this. Okay. Now here you can see that it's printing 200, means a successful request. This request already is successful, that it's been received. And good is the response that it will be given by the server. So in the server, it's already programmed that when he receives this URL, then he will send good. So that means you're really able to communicate with the server, with the online server. So this is how you send requests. You guys can get this. Actually, if you try to write in your browser, if you try to write this thing, it will send you good in your browser. It will send you the same thing.
Yeah, got the same. Good and 200.
Good. Okay, maybe you can try to, if you really can, you can try to maybe change it to write anything, write something wrong. Then you can try to upload, then see what's the code will give you. You can just try to write anything else other than the correct URL. Then you can see what's the output for you. I see. This one, it says 404, means it's not found. 404 is the code for not found. This is 404, and this is the response. This is the code, and this is the response sent back from the server. It says it cannot get this link, the one I write here. The one I write here. It says this cannot get. It doesn't found in the server. And there's also, this is 400, there's also 500. It's forbidden if you're trying to access data that you are not allowed to.
So that means we can access the cloud if
Mm,
we enter
that
the
means
cloud link.
that means you already can access the internet.
Okay.
You can try also to write here Google. Also can, then you can see what's the response will send back to you.
Okay.
When you write Google here, it will send you the Google page, so you will be able to see the Google page. So this is you supposed to understand now that the way of networking. So you need to understand that it's all about request and response. So in the server, when the programming inside the server is when you receive this request, what he should send back to you. So it depends on different use. Like for this website, it's programmed that when it receives this URL, it will send good. But you can change the programming inside the server to change it to other things. So that's how the way of networking works. So in the later we will need to add the data to this URL. Need to add the data of the sensor coming out from the sensor. Add it to this URL. Then in the server it will add this data to the database. So this is how you can save this data into the cloud. So let's say, okay, now every second it will print one time, and every 1 second it will save the data inside the database. Every 1 minute, every 1 second. So you can have different type of sensor. You can have any sensor, you can temperature. You can have heart rate sensor. You can have LED sensor. And some people also use it for the farming. So they would add a sensor inside the sand to indicate is it dry or there's water or like it to indicate how much the planet need water or not.
So first we need to save the data into database, right? Then
Mm,
it will be connected to the Google to the drive. Sorry.
yes,
Okay.
actually for IoT it have two sides. That's why it's quite difficult for only one to handle it because we need to have embedded system part and we need to have website or web development side. So that's why it's quite challenging for maybe someone from electronics or someone from computer science only to do it. Because people in computer science they learn about software, they can do the website, but people from electronics they only know how to do embedded system. They don't learn about web development. So that's why it have a different. It need different sites, different measure. Khalid can connect to internet.
There seems to be a problem with my... Why am I hearing myself? So, there
Right.
seems to be a problem with my node MCU. Assume it's giving me a fatal error somehow.
Fatal error.
Yeah.
You you never upload before?
No, I did,
Then?
but somehow now it's not working anymore. It seems.
Oh. Did you try to upload an empty sketch?
Yeah. Okay. Empty schedule. Okay.
Okay. Great. You can connect the internet. Cannot hear you. Then, if you're already familiar with this, you can sign up to this website that we will be using tomorrow to upload the data. Website you need to create account. Then after you create account, you can able to send data with. I already send the website in the chat.
So we need to make account into this website.
You create account on this website, then they will give you a key that you need to upload. You need to attach with your request, so you can able to upload data inside.
And this key will be entered in which part of the code? In the Git, inside the Git?
Inside the Git.
Okay.
It will be attached inside the URL.
Mr. Engineer Sharif,
Other code.
is there any platform يعني I can connect all of these connections on the like simulation on the laptop and like hardware? I don't have the, for example, the models, but I want to do it on the on the laptop, like like hardware.
Meaning you want to show the data, but in your laptop, not online.
Yes.
Or
Or a platform include coding, include all the parts, all the modules, like a simulation, but in real time.
for the website I sent just now, it have when you just need to program the hardware part. Then you send the data to the website. Then the website will handle the saving the data, will handle the visualizing, will handle everything else. You just need to send the data to the website. Other than this, will be handled by the website. Is that answer the question?
Yeah. But for example, if I want to try another another sensors or another, do I need to buy all parts, or is there any platform or any simulation platform that can I?
Oh, understand. As far as I know, don't have. There is one website, simulation website. If you want to try the sensors, but it's just to try out the sensor, but it cannot using Node MCU. It would only use Arduino. Or maybe
Okay.
I send you the website. This website is usually you can create your own circuit. You create the circuit in the website. Then after you create the circuit, you can program the Arduino. Already Karim writes for you. Tinkercad. Thank you, Karim.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
After we registered to the website, it asked us to put the username, but it didn't ask us to fill any username. I don't know if anyone else the same issue happened to them.
I don't understand. Again.
When I registered, it didn't ask me to provide any username.
Oh, the username is your email.
I tried also the email, but it didn't work.
Oh, you need to verify your account. It will send the email to your. It will send you an email.
Oh, okay.
Then you need to log in. Then when you log in, it will ask you to write this code.
Okay.
How did your problem can fix or still having problem?
Still having. I'll ask you. What was that noise? I'll ask you after this talk, I guess.
Okay.
I'll come to you.
Okay, no problem. Anas?
Yes.
Can you connect to internet?
Okay.
Okay. Can you guys register in the website or is this the problem?
Also, I couldn't.
Couldn't register?
Not yet. I mean, sending me verification code, but I haven't got the code yet.
Oh, okay. There's also actually some tools I think called Blank. Blank is a software that you can install on your phone. Then you can connect the Node MCU to this software. but this one it doesn't require Wi-Fi. It just the node MCU will be sending to your phone only.
But I think can I access can someone else access the data, but from different places? I mean, not like the cloud, right? The cloud, I can access the data.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That's the different. That's why I mentioned that the Wi-Fi can be used as a communication, but not internet. So I can communicate with the node MCU from my phone, but it's not cloud. It's not online.
Okay.
Thank you. I never used it before the blank I think I heard about it that it can be used, but only for sending data from phone to MCU. You guys can register to the file.
I still haven't gotten the code.
Okay. Any questions regarding the code or the node MCU? Anyone want to ask? Usually, actually, people will use for the IoT. Usually, people not using MCU. Usually, people will use Bluetooth. Use the Bluetooth to send the data to the phone. Then from the phone, it will send to the cloud because it's easier to handle. Because if you add node MCU, you need to have a Wi-Fi everywhere you go, but you cannot keep changing the Wi-Fi based on the place. Like if I move the device to another place, I need to change the Wi-Fi name and password every time I go. So usually people will just use Bluetooth to send to the phone, then from the phone it will upload the data. Same as the bracelet and other devices that is moving. I think the website have problem, right? Doesn't save the code. I also try, it doesn't send me the code.
By the way, you have shared another,
Huh?
you have shared another for frontline, right?
For what?
I mean frontline 19.
Frontline 19.
Then herokuweb.com, another link you have shared.
Yes.
I mean that link, there is no option for creating account, only sign in. I have tried to sign in but saying wrong password.
No. You need to use the iCare help.
Oh, same. Yeah, I put the same password. They're showing wrong password, and for that site, still waiting for the code.
You only need to sign up for iCare help. The frontline 19, no need.
Okay, thank
you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. You can start. If you already sign up for this website, I already shared the link inside the chat. Maybe I will share again for people who come in here. So if you already sign up, then you can message me and ask me for the code. Because when you sign up, you need to have the code for you to be able to sign in. So I guess only Ibrahim can sign in, right?
Yeah, now it works.
Okay. Okay, after you sign up, then when you log in, this will be the platform we will be sending the data from the node MCU. So our data will be plotted same way as this one. So for you to be able to send data to this website, then you will need to have, when you log in, there is a connect tab here. This connect tab will tell you your secure code. This secure code is the one you need to attach with your request, so the website will identify who you are. So this one will be different for everyone. So this is how the website will know this data belongs to who. So after we get this one, after we get this secure code, we can go back to our node MCU code. Okay. So this is our request. Yesterday we tried this request, and we get the response is good. So today we need to change this request to send to this website. So if you see here, this one is how you need to send copy the secure code. Then you go to your Arduino. Then you need to change the request to the site name. So here you write the site name. Okay. The site name. I will click for all, then slash, then you write data, then slash, then you write your secure code. This one, this is my secure code. So any data going to this URL will be going to my account, and then another slash, then should have the data at the end here. So we need here to add the data from temperature sensor, which is this one. So in order to be able to put the temperature here, we need to put this in front. So this one need to up. So after it gets the data from the temperature sensor, it will be stored in variable C. So the C variable we need to attach in this URL. So after we, do you guys know how to add this C inside here? Does anyone know? Anyone have programming experience?
By putting comma, right? After the parentheses.
Comma here?
Yeah, or not?
No.
Comma, the variable.
Comma in the variable?
Yeah.
No. I think this is another way. Anybody know? Anas?
Yes.
How to add this variable? I'm going to add this C variable to this URL. You know how?
I don't remember.
Okay, so for the string, if you want to combine two strings together, you will do plus. Then if you write C directly, it will not be working because this one is a string and this one is a float. So it will not combine. So you need to convert this to a string. So you need to put it inside the string constructor. So that's mean after you get this C value, then you put it inside the string constructor, then it will be changed to a string. So you can add it to this string. Okay. So this is the way you send data to the website. So when the website receives this, it should send you back. If you look at the website, it will say respond. If the data is valid, then there will be successful send respond will send back to you. But if the data will send you a bad error message. So when we send this request, we should be able to see the response in this one, same as yesterday. So we can, if we get the successful message, means it's already working. If we get unsuccessful message, means there's something wrong with the URL, either this one or either is the formatting. So we can try with this one. Good. And for the time, for the delay, I think you can make it more than 1,000, maybe 10,000. Because 1,000 is quite short. So it's every second will keep updating data. It's quite a lot. So you can just make it 10 seconds or 50 seconds, also how much you want. Now it's already done uploading. So it's waiting for connection. Okay. Now it's already connected. And this is my IP address as we do yesterday, and this is the temperature. And 200 is the successful code that this This request has been sent successfully, and this is the response sent back from the server. It says the temperature is sent successfully to IoT for all cloud. Then, if you go to the website, you will be able to see this data is it will keep every second will keep updating in here. So if you go to the dashboard, the website, you will be able to see the data. Every second will be updated. Every second here's 28.68. So you can see in here it's saying 28.68. So this one is every second will update the graph. So this one is a real-time feedback from the sensor. So also if you go down, this is the list of the data coming. So I already have a lot before, but for you it should be empty. So I have this is 128.68, and this is what time it's added to the database. So all this data is already stored inside the database, and it will be loaded like this. Anyone can get the same.
The link is the same as the one in the chat, right?
What?
The link of the website is the same.
I sent in the chat box.
Yeah, because when I put the link, and after the link I put the code, it shows the response is 404.
Did you put this website?
Yes. I'll redo it again. I'll tell you.
Make sure it's HTTP, not HTTPS.
All right.
This is also one something can make it not working. So from this data, you can be able. Okay, this is the data. So this data is everyone can be able to see from everywhere. Because it's from the cloud, not like other apps whereby they only can shown by the user only, not online. And here you see here I have 385 data, and I refresh, it should increase. So it becomes 449 because every second the root MCU is sending a new data. Every second will keep sending a new data. And here it will show how many graphs you have and what is the last data that the website received and what time it received.
Sorry, after the website URL, you put the data, right?
After the website URL data,
okay,
slash data, then slash your secure code.
All right, thank you.
Just link it to the application box. But we'll use my secure code. So from this data, you can actually do a lot of analytics and a lot of prediction. Also, some may want to do machine learning or AI for this data to predict further. But for this website, it's only like the sensor need to have digital data, not data numbers, either integer or float. You cannot send a text. Like must be numbers only. can able to receive the data. Okay, so this one is every 10 seconds. 1 second is very fast. It might crash the server. So you need to have a long time between each request. And this is using a GET request. Others you can use also a POST request. The four type you mentioned yesterday, there is a POST and GET and put and delete. So you can use GET or you can use POST. But for GET, the data will be putting in the URL here. So the data is inside the URL. But for POST, the data will be hidden inside the request. So the URL will not have the data. So it's a more secure way to have communication. But GET is the easiest one. Ibrahim, did you guys manage to have this?
Yeah, we got this.
You got the data?
Yeah.
Okay. Others? Anybody else? Ivan? Hey. So this one is actually the website I do this website for only simple data plotting, because other websites it requires you to pay money for you to be able to have something like this. So it's quite challenging for you to have a full IoT, because it requires web knowledge. So you need to be able to design a website, and you also need to have a knowledge in the embedded system and hardware. So it's quite challenging for one major only. So you need to have different measures to be able to have a full IoT project. But you need to make sure of the security as well. So for the security, some websites they usually there will be something called token. You need to send with the URL. So this token is only you can know this token. So it will allow you to only you be able to send to the website. Others cannot. But for the node MCU, the problem is you need to have a Wi-Fi. If you want to do something uploading to cloud, you need to have available Wi-Fi. So you need to make sure the Wi-Fi is always available. But this is sometimes it's a problem because the Wi-Fi not always available, or sometimes the Wi-Fi, or sometimes the device is moving. So you in the code you need to have maybe as a backup plan you need to store. Then after there is Wi-Fi connection, you need to upload the data. Or there is other IoT device is using a SIM card called GSM. So this device is basically can connect to the mobile data. So you will be able to have data everywhere you go. But it's quite big and expensive. So for just a prototype, I think the MCUs could be fine.
So what other manipulations you can do with this data received from the website?
What again?
What other manipulations? What can we do rather than the graph? Is there anything we can do? Maybe like we can store the data to be used for other things?
Yes, of course you can. But just, I just do it for only simple plotting. But for my previous project, I will there will be much functionality. So you can be able to customize this data because the data you already have inside database. So you can access the data from anywhere. So this data you can actually also you can do machine learning on it. You can do AI. You can do you can analyze the data for further study or research. Also, you can add. Usually, when you have data like this, you need to have an Excel export or PDF export, so you will be able to do further study on the data.
Oh, okay.
But as long as you have the data, then it should be fine. The problem is most of the IoT, they don't have the cloud part, so they just store the data on device but it's locally, but it's not on the cloud. So now you have data on cloud, you can access it from anywhere, from any other devices also. So for example, maybe I can show you guys one example. One example this is a project we do for the university during the MCO that's able to track the student movement and the temperature for the student as well. It's almost similar to using, but it's have maybe more functionality. So when you go inside, it have something called RFID sensor. RFID sensor basically is you can just scan your metric card with it. So it will have a unique ID for every metric card. So when you scan, let's say I go inside one of UTM labs, then when I scan my metric card, it will record and what time you go inside, and then a temperature. It will also store temperature here because the device have another sensor for temperature. Then it will also store the place. Then after this, when you want to go outside, you need to scan again, so it will write the checkout time. Then it will tell you how much you stay inside this lab. So this is a way of manipulating the data. So here I don't show the data same as here, but I need to manipulate it so for my own use. So here I need to know how much is temperature. So for these graphs, I also I add here. Okay, for this day, how many people go inside? For this day, how many people go inside? For this day, how many people go inside? So you can manipulate the data you get based on your own use. Here also we have like if you are scanned to check in but you still didn't check out, means now you are inside. So also the system will allow you to see who's inside now, who's currently inside this lab. So for every lab, he will have different data. So if you go to your if the lab owner go to the system, system automatically will show him his own data, his own lab data. So this is also one of the ways to manipulating the data. And you can extract it as Excel or PDF, all the data. So this is one of the other applications. This one is basically we wanted to test the battery lifetime. We need to every 2 minutes to record how much the voltage for the battery, so we know how it drop, how and how long it will stay. So we can, when you sell the product, you can tell the user, okay, this battery can stay alive for how many hours. So we add a voltage regulator to the battery, then add node MCU. So the voltage regulator will read the voltage of the battery, then node MCU will automatically send to the cloud. So every will be sent to the outside. So we can know the behavior of the battery, and you can also predict how long the battery will stay, and is this a healthy battery or not. So IoT application can have a lot of usage in the industry. Any questions?
Oh, thank you so much.
You asked me before about the machine learning, right?
Yes.
What actually you wanted to do? Because I didn't get
So the model, I have the model in Google Cloud.
Okay.
And I want the data from hardware, let's say from Arduino or from Node MCU or whatever hardware.
Oh.
But I want the data to be sent directly from the hardware to the. I don't know how to deploy the model in the Google Cloud.
Understand.
I saw one method, but it's very long. They are using some of the Google services, Google Cloud, I believe. Yeah, Google Cloud, all Google Cloud services combined together. Yeah, but it is very long.
Oh, the model need what data?
From the hardware, the heart rate, the heart blood pressure, the heart rate and blood pressure, and there is 2 more parameters that I forgot. Yeah, 2 more parameters. I cannot remember right now. But the other parameters can be manually entered into the into the model.
In the model, will predict what's the output of the model.
The classification of the heart disease. Whether it will be in terms of percentage. Whether out of 100.
For the models, I think the only way to use it is but I think there's other ways, of course, but you can Google Cloud. I think is the best way because model need high performance laptop, high performance CPU.
Yes, true.
So there's a lot of services to provide you with a remote CPU that you can work on.
And also Google Cloud is a paid service, not a free one.
Mostly there is no in field of IoT and machine learning and AI. Mostly everything is for money. Any other questions?
Thank you so much, Shariq, for this insightful workshop. Thank you to all organizers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bashmahandis Sharif.
Thank you all for attendance.